What's up, Mortgage Coach team? Dave Savage here. And today I'm interviewing Garrett Tyler out of San Diego area. What's up, buddy?
What's up? What's up? How are you, Dave?
I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to getting to know you better. I've obviously known Sam and Bill for, seems like forever. And I was talking to Bill recently, Bill Gaylord, for anyone who's listening, doesn't know, Gaylord Hason team. And he was telling me that you are a mortgage coach ninja. It sounds like you've created over 1,000 TCAs over the past few years. And so I want to get to know better about what you do and what your workflow is, especially in these Corona times.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell everybody a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the business and what your role is on the Gaylord Hason team.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been in the business about 5 years on the Gaylord Hason mortgage team. I started as a originator with the team and was working, with Sam hand in hand and Bill every day. My job role now has kind of evolved as I've grown through this industry as well. And like you said, originating and doing a lot of the TCA reports has allowed me to educate a lot of now the loan officers on our team on how to build those TCA reports and how to deliver that strategy or that best, loan option to that client. So now I now support about 14 loan officers. I'm the sales manager of our team. And been doing it with Gaylord Hason team for about 5 years now.
Love that. And just for folks so they have an idea of the kind of production you guys do, the kind of production you do, what are you guys doing as a team right now? What do you think you're gonna hit in April of 2020?
Yeah, April of 2020, I think we're gonna hit about 80. I think I wrote these numbers down to just be prepared for you too, Dave. 87 million is what we're projecting for this month, April, and it's about 164 families that we'll be helping. Last year total, we did about 909 families that we helped for a total of 411 million. Personally, I did about 108 of those units and 57 million of that. So big team, big operation. Wouldn't be able to do it without TCAs from Mortgage Coach. So, that's the biggest platform to deliver our, most state-of-the-art type of performance. And that's what we have to do. We have to show a client the best strategy. And the only way to do that, right, is with a platform that allows us to do it seamlessly, right? We can do it with Excel, we can do it with Word documents, but there's so much interaction for human error as opposed to having a platform that is going to be consistent with what you want to show and how you can show it. So our job, or my job here, is to really educate my loan officers on how to build that best, report to deliver that to the client.
Love that. And I've interviewed Bill, I've interviewed Sam, and one of my takeaways has always been that you guys are, tons of empathy, tons of personal connection, and you understand the value of that personal connection. Bill is becoming the way he's using media and video, leveraging that. And then you guys have always leveraged technology. The way you have implemented CRM has always been phenomenal. And you guys have always been one of the best big teams in the country in how you leverage Mortgage Coach. Because I think it's all about people, process, driven by, integrated with technology. You guys do it well. So anyone listening to this, if you want to check out past interviews, I'll put a link down below to one of my most recent interviews with Sam or Bill. And just know that you're hearing from one of the best teams in the country at going big. And they also do a great job of implementing Mortgage Coach. So let's go to you and why how Mortgage Coach helps you in your role, because you're obviously managing other loan officers, you're managing your own production. And I know that if Sam gets a lead, you're Mr. Mortgage Coach on it. So
yes, sir.
Tell us about that. How is Mortgage Coach helping you?
Yeah. And I'll even add back to your point too. It's also about transparency, Dave, on that piece of knowing, right, how to perform with your client or how to perform with your team. It's about transparency. So your platform allows us to explain to the client, right, in a very simple form, the best strategy moving forward. And when we were able to ask the client, well, did our competition do this for you, right? Or did somebody else present this type of option for you? Well, transparency is huge. And when we're able to show, I kind of messed up there. I know you're recording this.
You're all good, buddy. Just
Do you
keep
piece this
rolling.
together, by the way? Right? I'm assuming you
No,
do.
we're not editing it, so don't even try. Just like so far, you're all good.
Oh Lord. But anyways, no, I bringing it back to technology and transparency. The technology that we use, like you said, your platform has allowed us to just provide a transparency to the client that's never been there before with Excel and Word, in my opinion, and that's the difference. It's just
Well,
seamless,
it's
most state-of-the-art platform.
well, thank you, brother. And I interviewed Dr. JJ Peterson yesterday, who is the chief of teaching at StoryBrand, and he's also a PhD in communications. And he wrote his thesis on narrative marketing, which means story selling.
Yeah.
And when I interviewed him yesterday, I asked him, what's most important in today's market? And well, he knows a little bit about Mortgage Coach. He wasn't saying this for Mortgage Coach. He said, in today's world, to serve families, it's truly all about transparency
Mm-hmm.
and clarity. And in the mortgage
100%.
business, guys, yeah, right?
Especially in this market, think about the pandemic going on, right? All the insecurities that everybody has. I mean, the types of calls that we're getting, whether if somebody does already have a mortgage, right, with forbearance and educating them through that, being able to have a platform right now that's very transparent, that's very clean, that allows us to explain exactly how your mortgage is going to get paid off, when it's going to get paid off, how much your monthly payment's going to go up because we have to take your interest rate up on this cash out refinance, but we're eliminating all this other debt for you, right? To make it very transparent for a client, to show them the true savings. It's huge because internally, right, they have these insecurities. They have, oh my gosh, what is my payment going to be? Can I lock this interest rate in this type of market right now? So yes, being clear and transparent is the biggest thing, especially in this market right now.
Well, let's do this, because while I know I asked the question and I'm Mr. Mortgage Coach, I don't want this to just be use Mortgage Coach. I want it to be like tactics and strategies. I am a mortgage coach, or I'm a wannabe mortgage coach, and I want to hear how you do it. So let's do 2 workflows, and then let's pull up a TCA. Let's start with you supporting Sam, and he generated a lead. It sounds like you're the one creating the total cost analysis. Is that right?
Correct.
And how long does that take you? If you just give us a little color on your process.
Yeah, if I get a scenario, Dave, I would be knocking out a total cost analysis probably in less than 30 minutes for a client.
How long?
Probably less than 30 minutes.
Okay. And then how detailed do you get in the fees, making sure that the detailed fees, are you doing bulk fees, and are you using templates?
Yeah, good question. Bold fees along with internal templates that we use. So for example, we'll show what an APR cost is, the cost to get the loan. Most likely we'll show a lump sum in the non-APR section to show the cost it takes to get the home with the third-party fees like title and escrow and the county recording, notary fees, all that. And then we'll show a lump sum for prepaids, for their prepaid insurance and their taxes and things like that. So we will break it up to 3 categories for fees on the TCA to make it simple, so that when we're going over a consultation with the client, we don't want you to focus on the notary fee being $100. We don't want you to focus on the credit report fee that's $19 that gets paid to Loan Depot, right? We want you to focus on, this is the total cost it takes to get the mortgage. This is the total cost it takes you to get the home with the third-party fees. And this is the total cost that we're going to have you prepaying for your property taxes and your homeowner's insurance. And then,
so you do always add taxes and insurance.
Correct, I do. And I try to gauge whether if it's a refinance client, if they had an impound account, if they didn't have an impound account. And if it seems like they wouldn't, Dave, I would not include it, those taxes and insurance, because they're most likely then a savvier buyer at that time that does not need that impound account or chooses not to because they know that they want to do something else with those monies. But yeah, so from this standpoint, we would lump sum that, because then I would explain to the client that, no, what we want to do is take your mortgage coach that I built for you, and we want to compare that now to your initial disclosures and to your loan estimate, because that's where we're going to break down your credit report fee, all the other intermediate fees. I want you to focus on the total and the big picture right now, and I'll show you in our loan documents that are final what those actual are.
And I have videotaped lots of loan officers creating a TCA, And, you know, like in Jeremy Forcier's case, the most time consuming part of it is just getting the fees from your pricing engine, getting all this stuff, you know, the actual, let's do the data input for Mortgage Coach. I mean, it's 5-ish minutes. It's all the other things that take so much time. And whether you're quoting with Mortgage Coach or quoting with someone else, it takes what it takes given your platform. Is that pretty accurate with you?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
And do you use the strategy template feature? Are you creating strategy templates, or are you just using program templates and putting them together?
Right now, program templates, but we have started with some strategies. So for example, yes, like the 500,000 ballpark figure that I know I can plug in somebody that I can just tweak that number slightly. Yes, we're starting to use those strategy templates. It's easier.
For anybody that's listening, we designed that strategy template to save you a lot of time. I'm going to put a link in show notes to an interview I did with Tina, one of our success managers. And it's just a 20-minute interview on how to go fast with Mortgage Coach and strategy templates, program templates. So if you're new to Mortgage Coach and you don't have your template set up, or you don't even know what strategy templates mean, you'll go faster if you watch that 20-minute video. All right, well, let's get into, you do the TC, like Bill gives you the stats. Does he like assign it to you in your CRM? Like he gives you a task?
Yeah, he'll typically we'll start with a call or something like that. But yeah, it'll get assigned in the system Salesforce for us, and then in our CRM, and yeah, and then I'll just attack from there. If I got a phone number and an email, it's a go time.
Yeah, and for anyone else listening, like Jeremy Forcier, he is, you know, he's a team leader, but he creates a TCA and his team gives him a task in Salesforce or whatever CRM they have with the details he needs to create the TCA. Vice versa, you create it for him. And then I know Sam likes to add videos to it. So is he adding the video, or do you ever add video for Sam? Or like if it's his client, he's going to create the video?
Yeah, exactly. So if it's one of Sam's clients, then I'll send that TCA to him saying that it's built, ready for you. Go hop in, put in this link, or go put in your video so we can fire that off. Some of his clients, I'll send the video just along with, because I built that relationship with them over time. And then my clients, it's occasional, you know, pick and choose which client's going to respect that video more. Got
it. So for anyone who's listening to this as a team, if you're the one that you're going to be the main relationship with the family and they know you're putting the video on it. If you're making a handoff to a true production partner, it's going to manage it from here on out. Like I know Cindy Ertman's production partner, then she'll put the video on it. So like whoever the, call it single point of contact is going to be, or the mortgage strategy contact, that's who puts the video on it, for anyone who's just wondering how that workflow goes. All right, well, let's get into the details. So lead comes in. Do you send them the application link and get an app before you create the TCA?
Yes and no. So sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. So if it's a strategy where I just met the client and I know that I can build something quick, under 5 minutes, and fire it off to them, then I do. And I'll send that off to them ahead of time before the application to say, I know we just were chatting on the phone about a $600,000 purchase price. You said you've saved up 20%. I just wanted to show you a quick 20% down on 600,000 to show you that your payment would be in this space, right? Give them that good feel of, hey, my lender's already working for me. We just got off the phone. He said he was going to send me the application link, not give me an example right away. So on the ones where I can get a little bit of the insight of what they're looking for, I'll build one ahead of time to add that value. And then send the application along with it.
So it sounds like to me that if you still need to do some trust building, or you need to create some value before they'll fill out the app, you're doing the TCA to build that. But if it's like, hey, they're ready to fill out the app, like, okay, here is the link, fill it out, and then you're going to do it. So it really depends on what the customer is requiring in order for them to feel comfortable and confident. Is that fair enough?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, and guys, by the way, another pro tip, when you are giving that link, highly recommend, instead of calling it anything that like an app word, call it a questionnaire. And I'm going to put a link to an interview I did with Josh Metal down below, where, you know, he's like, hey, fill out this client questionnaire. Really good scripting. And lots of times Josh will put a text video in front of it. So it will be text video with direction. and his application link or client questionnaire link. Okay, so then when you send him the TCA, are you doing that via email or are you doing that via text?
Via email, mostly via email.
Okay, well, let's do this. I want to make sure everybody gets it. So if you don't mind sharing your screen, I want to, because it's a refi market right now, let's start with a refi TCA. And let's show what your typical refi total cost analysis would look like. And let's walk through it so people understand it. And then if you do have the email that you send it with, I just want people to get the whole experience of how the Gaylord Hason team is going from lead to advice to loan.
Yeah, absolutely. Does that look like it's working for you?
Yeah, we see your total cost analysis.
All right.
So what do you call it to the family? Do you call it a total cost analysis or do you call it something else?
I do. I call it a total cost analysis.
Right on.
And I'll call it a total cost analysis, and I'll label that in their subject line of the email, as well as, Dave, I'll put in their last name along with that total cost analysis.
Well, let's pull up the email first. Let's look at that email, because I wanna share best practices, or whatever you guys are doing as best practices. And if I can add something, I would tell you one recommendation, just looking at your screen, is to add a photo of yourself. So, you're building your personal brand. You may or may not want to do that, but I recommend it.
Yeah.
Every chance you get to personally connect and put your photo or your video on it, you're building the personal connection with folks.
Where does that photo go, Dave?
We'll give you a coaching afterwards, but right where your name is, we can add a photo, and I'll have our success manager coach you up on that.
Perfect. So this is typically, I'd get off the phone with a client. I'll either send them the email with the application in a separate email, so that I'd be sending them to, or I've texted them the application link. So then I would send them this email along with it afterwards. If I kind of got some insight to what they were looking for, I'd say, thank you for all that time on the phone and working to complete the application with us. While you work to get me some documents, since I've already sent you the documentation list, I'm going to go over a total cost analysis with you. So then I've sent them this link that we relabel ourselves. So it says click here. It doesn't have just the URL. And
yeah, so one suggestion is I would recommend, I like how you've laid it out. Like, it's very easy to read this. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is like a 7. A couple things for you to consider, and maybe you do this in the subject line, but in the subject line, put their family name in, like Smith Family Total Cost Analysis, or, that. And then I would also, whatever you use in the subject line, I'd put here where I'd, call it, click here for your personalized TCA or the Smith Family Total Cost Analysis. So just something to consider for the next one.
Great point. Yes, that's exactly what we do. And we'll include, Dave, that total cost analysis labeled exactly like that. So total cost analysis dash John homeowner. And this exactly would be labeled the exact same way. This is just for you for the video, but yeah, this would be labeled exactly the same way, along with the link here would be labeled with their last name, so that everything's staying consistent.
Yeah, nice job. So this is tight. Any chance we could see, do you have the email handy on how you forward the app? Because I want to help loan officers, especially in this time we're in right now, to be efficient for yourself. Like, how are you saving time in the way that you conduct your job with a family? And then how do you do it in a way that's a service? And, to me, this is now an A, this is now a 9 or a 10, because it's simple and easy to read. It's not cluttered with a lot of, confusion and jargon. So, how do you win trust and be a differentiator? Clarity and transparency. So it's easy to read. It's clear where I'm going to click, and they're going to go through that.
Yes, sir. This would be the start. So same concept, would have online application dash their last name, right? So that they knew it's tailored to them, rock solid. And this would say online application, tailored to their last name, click here.
Clarity. Yeah, so awesome. So by the way, when we get your photo added to the TCA, it is just going to make the whole thing just this personally branded experience. You've got your photo on your email. You've made it super easy to read. and they pull up the TCA. So we'll help you get that dialed in. So let's now jump into the total cost analysis. So guys, put yourself in the shoes of a family. You just had this great conversation. I'm sure you were fast, speed to lead. The way you guys operate, it's like a machine over there. They get the email, it's clear, it's simple, and now they're getting this TCA. Walk us through it and just give us a sense of what it's like to go through this with the family.
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing I'll do is, once they click on here, I'll always start with, hey guys, please make sure that you're seeing that I've started to highlight the value of your home, just to make sure that they're on the same link as me, that they're seeing.
Hey, time out. So I want to make sure everybody connects the dot. So you sent the email, they clicked on the link, you're on the phone, they're looking at their computer, and guys, what you're seeing now is called, Mortgage Coach Live. So he's live highlighting this, and it's showing on their screen. So keep going. I just wanted to make sure everyone connected the dots on that.
Yes, sir. Yep, on the phone, already connected. Now I'm just making sure that they're on the same screen. I'd go over, all right, can you see me making some highlights to the value of your home? They'd say yes. And then I'd mention, all right, so on the left-hand side here, right, is I want you to draw your attention, and I'll highlight it for them right away. And then I'll unhighlight it so that we can go over specific things. But I'll say, this is your current loan. This is where you're currently at, 4%. This is where your current loan balance is, right? And we roughly have 29.5 years left to still pay off this mortgage. So then we talk about, well, where's the current market on a no-cost option for you today, right now in this space? That's what I'd tell them. All right, I want to draw your attention to what we could do for you today, lowering your interest rate to 3.5%, and we'd go over this option and explain to them. And I'd actually have only these two options up first. I would not have the reinvestment strategy up first, because then I would gauge and ask them, what do they plan on doing with the $213 in monthly savings that they would get from doing this refinance? If they immediately said that they plan to utilize it with something else, I would, work with them to discuss, well, let me show you an option of, if you plan to make the same mortgage payment that you're currently making, but on this new refinance, and we took this $213, right, and we put it towards the mortgage as a principal reduction each month, well, then I'd show them that they'd pay a significant amount less in interest over the life of the loan, as well as I'd show them that their freedom point, right, would become a couple years sooner. So that's typically the strategy, especially in a market that we're in right now, where interest rates are overall coming down. And this strategy is an example that I just went over with somebody last week that, we did a purchase about 6 months ago. Market has definitely opened up for them to have a better refinance opportunity and, and lower that interest rate.
So guys, I'm going to put a link to this down below. So anybody listening to this, there'll be a link to this actual sample TCA and show notes. If you could click on more information and go into the fee detail of program 2, and how detailed do you get? Click on closing cost. Yep. How detailed do you get into this kind of stuff, and how often does it go here?
Yeah, let's go. So on this option, this is an option where I'm reflecting an impound account. So here, I would not, though, Dave, reflect the prepaids that they would have to come in, because I would explain to them over the phone that the impound account, right, that's on their current mortgage would be getting refunded to them, so that they should not be worried about building a new impound account if we need to, because those funds will be coming in from their old one. So that's where I always start as well. But then we go over, hey, there are costs to doing a refinance. So what are our APR costs? And I like to simply break that down to, what is the cost it takes to get the mortgage? And that's us here, right? So I go over, an APR cost is the cost it takes to get the mortgage. Credit report, lender's fees, things like that. Then I break down, all right, and this one we can dial in, because those are ours. Non-APR, right, I have to get a little bit more specific. So if I know the escrow and title company I'll be working with, I can dial this in to be roughly within, I try to say about 500 with a pad, Dave. But I can dial this into about, $200 to the end of the day with the client, knowing of what exactly they're going to be seeing on their initial disclosures. So non-APR costs are all the third parties that we're using: title, escrow, notary, appraiser. And if PIWs, property inspection waivers, are included in refinance analysis, these fees would come down. I would lower this to about $2,200 then, or $2,300 on this option. So yeah, we lump sum. This kind of goes into the point that we were discussing earlier. How do you break out fees? Well, we do a lump sum version here.
And let's go ahead and go out of this. And if you were doing a purchase, do you still do a lump sum, or do you do details?
Lump sum.
Okay. And I've interviewed not hundreds, over 1,000 top producers. And I've seen people that do it like this, and I've seen people that do details. You know, Kelly Zitlow is a great example of a loan officer that can create a TCA super fast. She is a ninja with templates. She has 3 templates, and she does it in detail. So for anyone listening to this, you know, this is how they do it. There are other ways of doing it. I'll put a link to a video down below that highlights a loan officer that does things in details, and I'll either share Kelly's or someone else. So, you know, I would love to put you on the spot. Can you go back into Edge, and or not Edge, but the Mortgage Coach Advice Engine, and could you maybe just show how that live feature works? I just, you know, I want to make this as useful to anybody and everybody. You'll notice, guys, in the upper right-hand corner, you know, there's a button to click and preview. Could you just show them? Yeah, like, is that where you start the live experience?
No, I actually go straight to preview here.
Got it.
And open it that way, and that actually will generate the link. Copy paste, send that off to them, and go into preview from there.
Got it. So just FYI to everybody, you could go in a few different ways, but in the upper right-hand corner, you can see you can either preview or you can add a video, you know, so, and just make note, everybody, when it comes to adding a video, whether you want to have it pop up on your phone or whether you want to have it on your desktop or whether you want to put an audio note. Do you ever use the audio note feature?
I don't know about it too much, Dave.
All right, so that means you don't. So just click on that real quick. I want to make this as instructional for everybody as possible. Click on the add video, and then go ahead and click OK. And everybody, you'll notice right here in just a second, don't click on the button when it pops up, but you can either add a mobile video. So if you click the top one, it would pop up on his mobile phone. If he picks this one, it'll show up right there on his desktop. And if he picks the bottom one, he can just add an audio message. And at least in our recommendation at Mortgage Coach, every chance you can get to personalize the content, say their name out loud, tell them what their goal was. You know, not only are you better impacting that client, but you're building a better brand with that client. So let's go ahead and stop sharing your screen, and let's just close out with some high level, you know, kind of strategy questions. Now, I know when I interviewed Jeremy Forcier last, and I was talking about, you know, all the value he gets from creating a TCA, he's like, you know, hey, it's valuable for the customer, and I'm all about giving the best advice possible, and that means they're getting this. But he's like, for every 5 minutes in Mortgage Coach, it's saving 30 minutes. And when he listed out all the reasons it's saving time is because the family's clear, they can socialize it with other people, but he also talked about it's good for the team. Like when he hands it off to the processor or other team members, like everybody knows what was communicated and what the strategy is. Do you guys have a team value prop in the way Mortgage helps you as a team?
Oh yes, it's a part of our CRM. So as we turn a file into process and take that file contract to close, there's an actual physical section in our CRM that allows for the Mortgage Coach link to be included, as well as the notes and the strategies that were on that Mortgage Coach that we like to include. So that, for example, the processor or the personal loan manager, who is the intermediate stage on our team between the loan officer and the processor, we have a personal loan manager that takes the client from a hand-holding position for that next contract to close piece. So what they have the ability of doing is in our CRM, seeing what that Mortgage Coach and what that loan officer was able to explain and go over and consult that client. So for example, that happens all the time. A client will talk to one of our personal loan managers and say, well, you know, Garrett was chatting with me 2 weeks ago about option number 3, where he was taking my interest rates actually higher than 3.5 because we were going to do a cash out option and I was going to eliminate some other debt. is that option still available? Well, without having to get the loan officer fully involved yet, the personal loan manager can go into our CRM, see that the mortgage coach link is attached, click on that, and identify what options and strategies we went over. And then they'd be able to see that, oh yeah, there was a cash out option that he went over with Garrett. Let me get Garrett involved, and we're going to go ahead and restructure. So happens all the time, and yeah.
So guys, that's so powerful for anyone that's on this, that's on a team or leading a team. That is huge money. That is time savings. And by the way, that's also service to the client. Like, you're helping the service to the client. So I don't want you to pull it up now because there's a, private information, but I would love to get a screenshot of one of those. And if you could either blank out the name, or I will.
Yeah.
But, if you could send, text me or email me a screenshot of that, I would love to make that a supplement, and making sure that we keep any client information blanked out. But are you cool with giving us just a screenshot of what that looks like?
Perfect. Oh yeah. And then you'll see too, underneath that, the details of what we're asking the personal loan manager to disclose on that file. And specifically, if it will show the details, hey, if they choose option 2, structure it this way. If they choose option 3, go ahead and structure it this way. It might be a little bit more work up front, but like you said, people are changing their minds all the time. Transparency is huge. And so to be able to go over that in the beginning saves you 30 more minutes right now, because I don't have to build that again. And we're just discussing that option that we've already, went over.
Yeah, well, it's all about transparency and clarity. And when you do this, you're giving an uncommon level of transparency, and you're giving an uncommon level of clarity. And then you're maintaining that throughout the transaction. Because let's face it, every client that comes in the door, it's a narrative, it's a story. If it's a purchase, they come in with, I want options. They put a house in escrow, things change, they change their mind, circumstances change. I mean, 1,000 things can change, and it changes. When I last interviewed Carolee Zitlow, they change mortgage coach throughout the process. And then a lot of people nowadays, at the close of escrow, they're giving another updated TCA, and they're saying, hey, you're closed. Column A is your new loan. Column B is just reminding you, hey, pay that $300 extra a month and you can pay off your MI faster, or pay that extra $300 a month and you can buy that bigger home faster. And so I'm more and more, are you guys by any chance doing that? Giving a close of escrow TCA?
Absolutely.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. And if we're preparing possibly, Dave, for another refinance in the future. So an FHA client that I know I'm going to eventually get their FICO score over 700 and be in a position to do a conforming loan, hopefully in 6 months, because we're paying off debt to get that score above. Absolutely. I'm showing them what that conforming refinance looks like to motivate them to get this debt paid off on this FHA loan to get there. Absolutely. So that TCA is just as important as the origination as the close.
I love that. I didn't know you guys had added that function, but I mean, it makes sense because you guys are so process driven. You're so obsessed with this, Uber, Four Seasons, Nordstrom's level experience. And guys, notice how simple they're keeping it. Well, I recommend Zoom, and there's a time to use Zoom or WebEx or whatever your online platform is. With Mortgage Coach, a phone and the TCA link can stream video, can stream options. It can do a lot. And now, again, I'm not saying there's not time for Zoom. I love the idea of putting a text video at the front end so that they're getting direction and a link. But the most important links are the app link and the advice link, Mortgage Coach. All right, brother. So this has been an awesome interview. You've given a lot of value. I guess the last question I have, because you're managing a lot of loan officers and helping provide leadership. You're doing a lot of TCAs. How do you use the Mortgage Coach as a value prop with agents? And just give me a high level on how you do that and what that sounds like.
Well, I think two things to that. When we actually are helping an agent personally on their loan too, they're blown away with the software or the platform that we're using, right? So right then and there, we're helping a lot of our agents. So from that standpoint, they see it firsthand because we're refinancing their loans or we're helping them with their next purchase. So they get that firsthand experience, honestly. But when it's a discussion on how we educate your client, this thing is absolutely huge, because we explained, well, the first question, Dave, I like to ask too to an agent is, well, what have you used and who have you used in the past, and what platform are you used to? Because this is how we're going to go over it. And this is how we're going to explain why you would choose FHA over VA or over conforming or the next option. So no, nothing's been able to compete to Mortgage Coach yet.
So guys, I hope you caught the nuance of that and that scripting, where you've shown your agent not how you're bringing clarity, confidence, and transparency to their clients in a way that improves conversion, in a way that creates urgency, and then just, casually, well, what platform are you used to?
Correct.
And guys, if
most
loan officers,
that's a casual conversation too. You say, well,
yeah.
what are you used to, so that I can show you what I'm going to do. And never has it been asked, can you add this? Can you add this? Can you add this? Because of what we're doing. Absolutely. It's been said, well, we want to knock this off. We want to be able to have the client go over this. And we already have that delivered in the Mortgage Coach. So yeah, great job.
Powerful. That's powerful. And again, guys, write down that script, show Mortgage Coach around a story and a strategy to an agent, and they go, oh, well, what platform are you used to? And they're just like, a PDF with rate payment and closing
Excel
costs.
sheet.
Yeah, or and you've literally, without saying a word, you've made your competition, as Donald Miller would say, look like the villain. You're the guide. You're the one providing advice, giving guiding advice. Other loan officers are selling rates and fees. And so that's just a great ninja move, brother. So any closing thoughts for you? Anything you want to make sure you share with the community as we wrap up today's call?
No, nothing really. I mean, Mortgage Coach is great for us. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to help you. We appreciate it. And like I said, come down and visit us anytime, man. We love it.
All right, man. So guys, hopefully you got value from this. If you are on a team, show this to everybody on your team. You're a team leader. Guys, this is how you should be rolling, especially in today's world where, a digital mortgage experience is everything. If you got value from this video, give us a like down below. If you loved it, love it, share it with your team. I would recommend, if you're a branch manager, I would recommend that you have a branch manager meeting around this. And you not only talk about the borrower experience, the realtor experience, but the team experience. That was a big takeaway. In show notes, I will have a link to the image that they share with me. So you'll be able to see what that link is. Just go down below in YouTube. There's a description of this and there'll be a link to it. Garrett, dude, you're the man, brother. Appreciate you.
Rock solid, man.
Rock it on, dude.
Bye.